Very good morning to you. If you're just joining us, let's bring you this story. Come the 1st of June, South Africans will be allowed to buy alcohol, but under strict conditions. Trading hours and the amounts that can be purchased will be limited. Now, the Liquor Traders Association is describing this as a recipe for disaster. Sean Robinson from the association joins us now to discuss this issue further. Mr. Robinson, thanks for your time. You've warned of possible violence and looting that will stem from the strict regulations around the sale of alcohol. Why do you hold this view?
Good morning. As an association, we are concerned about the trading hours that will be allowed or permitted by the regulations. However, the initial regulation said that the trading hours would be Monday to Wednesday, just for 4 hours a day. And we've had very good collaboration recently with government. And we proposed slightly extended hours, and it is our hope that those hours will be extended slightly, as well as possibly the days. Which will enable safer and more controlled supply of liquor during this period. We're concerned, of course, with congestion and queuing and significant demand concentrated into a few days, but the conversations that we have had with government just recently have been well received.
Will you say those discussions that you've had with government have been well received? Does that mean that they are going to extend the days of trading and the 4 hours are also going to be extended slightly?
We're not 100% sure just yet. Obviously, we await that information. It is hopeful that the hours will be extended slightly and on each day. And we've certainly put forward the concern that we do have with regards to significant demand over a very concentrated period. So we're anticipating slightly better hours, and we're certainly asking the public and our consumers to be patient and to understand that there will be queues, and also to understand that retailers will be running out of certain lines, possibly, and that we may have alternatives, but we might not have exactly what a particular person or consumer may want at a particular moment.
Talk to us about, sorry to interrupt you there, but talk to us about the restriction around the amounts that people can buy, a single customer can buy. Why is that, and what sort of justification has been made by government?
We're not sure whether the government are going to regulate restrictions on quantity. We don't know that yet. They have asked for input from us, which we provided. Our intention as a trade would be to self-regulate. In other words, we won't be able to supply everybody with everything that they want in the first day or so. So much like the grocers controlled the quantity of sale of toilet paper initially, possibly I think it was to 5 units, or there was self-regulation in a number of the grocery chains. And I certainly suspect that the retail trade and liquor trade will probably self-regulate when it comes to the restriction of quantities. So we're not anticipating very strict regulation around quantities, but again, we will abide and work with government as to what their request is.
I've got to ask you this question, Mr. Robinson. So if Monday to Wednesday is not changed, nor the 4 hours per day to sell alcohol, what are the possible dangers here?
I do think that would certainly result in significant difficulty in managing social distancing in the queues outside. I think customers that have possibly queued for a significant period of time and they get to the front of the queue only to be told that we now need to close would result in obviously significant frustration, and we would want to guard against that at all costs. We're investing heavily in additional security for the initial weeks, to manage the demand as well as the queuing. So I think if we don't get more hours and slightly more hours than what the initial regulations came up with, it could well result in much frustration.
Yeah. A final question to you. How do you respond to organizations, including political parties, by the way, who've come out and slammed the decision to allow for the sale of alcohol to be lifted. And this is as a result, they're saying, of people who will be in an inebriated state, not being able to exercise self-control. They're basically warning of a recipe for disaster.
We would certainly disagree with that. I think that's to a certain extent why government is looking to restrict the days and hours of sale. But we're very concerned about the proliferation of the illicit trade that's taking place. So we're very anxious as the legal liquor trade to be able to open our doors and manage the sale of legal alcohol. We also don't see how the purchase of a limited quantity of alcohol for home consumption would necessarily result in the increased spread of the virus. It's our view that the responsible limited purchase of liquor from off-premise outlets for consumption at home would not result in social gathering and increased gathering of people, and wouldn't lead to the spread of the virus.